welcome to the Behind the Drapes podcast. I'm your host, Expo Rich, and I'm here with Jessica Blue of Money20. Very excited to have you here today,
Thank
thank
you
you for being on. And it's great for me to have this forum so we can get to know the people that are behind the drapes, that are doing the things that we are building the brands and building the shows. So I love the opportunity to hear, more about the person. So with that, I always like to know, what's your origin story? How did you first get involved with shows? And I know you worked with some other organizers that we met when you were at Emerald. And
That's right.
And, so over the years, what was your very first access and point of knowing that you loved trade shows?
It's interesting. So I was working for the very first online news source for journalists, for IT journalists, back in the mid-90s as a sales rep. And one of the things, it was called News Desk International. We all worked, it was a startup, we all worked out of a barn. And it was, one of the very, very first online, news and information sources. And one of the things that we would do is we would do a deal with a trade show organizer, typically IT trade shows, and we would run a virtual press office for them at their show. And my job was to sell to the exhibitors to have their press releases online. And it was so new, no one else was doing that. Later, that company became PR Newswire, was acquired by PR Newswire, but that's what I started off doing. So the first show I went to was a show called Networks Telecom that does not exist anymore at the NEC in Birmingham, and it was the biggest show that UBM had in the UK. And sorry, Jonathan's making me laugh. Stop it. Stop it. And that was the first show I ever went to, and I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
It was so much fun. And then I decided, I think this is what I want to do, but full time. So I got a job selling booth space with UBM, not on that show, on a different show, and that was how my career started in sales. Yeah.
And so throughout your career, you started with UBM, and then what were some of your next steps through the evolution so far?
Yeah, so I sort of worked my way up, I guess, through the sales route as telesales exec, then a field sales exec. I got a car allowance as it was then, and I was allowed out on the road selling booth space. Then I moved into a sales manager role, and then an event director role, and so on. And I was at UBM for about 8 years, working my way up to be an event director. And so by the time I left, I was the event director for a show called International Confex, which still exists today. A show for show people, for event people. And I was recruited by Advanced Star to go and run their licensing show that they just acquired. And I ended up doing that for 8 years and tripled the size of that show, and then decided that I needed to leave and do something else. And the CEO said, well, don't do that. Move to the States and run our big licensing show, and then you can stay with us. So I said, no, because it sounded like a terrible idea. He said,
exactly what I'm doing at a bigger scale.
Yeah. And I said, I don't want to move. I've never even been to California. And he said, well, I'll fly you out with your family. You can see if you like it. And of course, one thing led to another, and here I am. So that was 13 years ago. Yeah.
And Money20 has been something that steadily has been growing over the years too, and it's an amazing event that very well known as well. And so throughout the career, you had, I'm sure that you had different people along the way that were great mentors and people that helped you out. Who can you speak on that were some of the people that helped pulled you up along the way?
Oh, so many. I mean, there's so many amazing people that I worked with at UBM. I mean, the Andy Green, who was my sales manager on Confex back in the 90s, was incredible. Such a great salesperson. I feel like I learned from the masters, I really did. And then when I moved into the tech portfolio and I was selling tech shows, Del Fazaranti was my boss back then, and he was also brilliant, just taught me how to really identify needs of customers in order to sell. Really taught me how to do that, would come on calls with me, would sit with me, would coach me. I feel very blessed with the people that I've had working, I've worked for and worked with. And then, you know, over the years, I've had others. I've had some great female bosses too. Helen Gardner at Brand Licensing, she was brilliant too. You know, none of these people are really sort of in the industry anymore as like they were. So, but I've never forgotten them, and I'll never forget. You know, when I hit my goal on Confex one year, that my boss Andy at the time knew that me and my husband were going away for the weekend, and he found out where we were going, and he called ahead and paid our entire bill for the weekend. You know, just little things like that. As a manager, you know, he could have like given me a couple of $100. But the fact that he did that was so special.
Put the extra effort in to make it personalized.
Things like that. And so I think just learning about what's motivated me over the years as well from those people as I think helped me be a better manager and a better leader today. And I've got a great boss now, Tracy Davies. She's phenomenal. She built Money 2020 up over the years since the acquisition. So yeah, very, very, very lucky actually. Yeah.
So as we're rounding out the rest of this year, what's something that you're excited about finishing 25 and going into 26?
So this is going to be my first full cycle on Money 2020 USA. So I'm really excited about that. We're launching a lot of new product lines at the show this year. So I've had the opportunity to really, you know, build out some new business models and try things out for our show, and also to iterate and make things better. Having seen the show for the first time last year and worked with the team this year, so I'm very excited to have that whole cycle and to implement the things that we're trying this year and see how they go. You know?
Great.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to seeing and hearing more about the outcomes. And thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
And have a great rest of the.
Thank you. Thank you very much.